Hello. Hello, everyone. So I'm fanning myself. Here's my fan. Fanning myself because, listen, actually, I'm going to wait. Oh, you popped up fast. Okay. I'm fanning myself because it was all about Lucas Bouchard. I am sorry. This is what I know. By the way, I'm in my jammies. I'm fanning myself because I'm hot. And I was saying, by the way, the fireside chat is not a fire in the fireplace, but like I was saying, it's a fire that gets within me when I see Governor Bouchard on the screen. Let me put this down. So, anyway, I had to take notes because I don't even have time to think. I only have 5 minutes to, rush in, which is fine. So, hello everyone. Hi, Sharon. And who else? I skipped it all, Belle, but that was because I had another show. Oh, yeah, you could catch it later if you recorded it. But you're going to get spoilers because I'm going to be telling you some things if you're okay with that. Okay. Yes, Morgan Murphy. I recognize that, Kathy. Okay, so everyone's here. I want to keep you because it's late. But season 11, I felt for Lucas really got off to a great start because if we didn't see him, if he didn't have screen time, then they were talking about his character. So I mean, this was like, to me, I felt it was like the Lucas Bouchard episode. So everyone was either worried about him, talking about how he was doing, or even Nathan. When we had time with Nathan and Bill cracked me up, but that I'll talk about that on Monday. But even when they were together, the conversation was about Lucas. And I'm excited about that, of course, because I'm a huge, massive Lucas fan. Now, I had said, what would be Lucas's first words? And I'm not sure, okay, because it kind of was like a little bit of a cheat because they had him repeat what was said at the end of season 10, and even the dialogue between Bill when he runs down to say it's about Lucas. I don't remember them. Did they say he was shot? I don't remember them saying he was shot in the end of season 10, but they do say it in 11. So if we're going truthfully by the very first time we see him, it says, what are you doing here? Am I right? Is that what it was? I don't know. Let's see. People are just saying, hi, what's this? What's Nikki saying? Oh, hello from Central Iowa. Hello, Nikki. Lucas looks and sounds great, but tell me why Nathan was the big hero. Well, Susan, he wasn't. And he even said that from the first. But we're not here to discuss that. We'll discuss it tomorrow. But he wasn't. So tomorrow we're discussing that. We're talking only about Chris and Lucas. So Chris did a fabulous job. I could see why he was excited about this storyline because, I mean, he looked like death warmed over. They did a great job of him lying in the bed. They weren't sure if he was going to make it. And then, he's recovering and he has a big announcement. So, I mean, this really, truly, if we looked at it, was all about like Lucas all over the place, which I enjoyed. I really did. Um, there were some things that stood out for me that I was so happy with is when we get to see him recovering. Well, there was a couple of things I wanted to mention. First, what do you think was Elizabeth sitting in that chair and she fell asleep and her handkerchief fell to the floor? There's got to come is there going to come back with more of that? Because I don't see her picking it up, and even when Bill walked in to sit down, he didn't pick it up. So while she was by his bedside, I'm wondering what that means. I don't know. I want to see if there's more that comes out of that. Does it cause a problem somewhere? I don't know. And they really focused in on it. So it'd be weird. Well, back in the day, I would say it'd be weird. It might just be forgotten. Who knows with this whole new whatever's going on. But anyway, back to when he was healing. I really loved that we got to see him in the bed healing and his buddy, and he still calls him buddy. That hasn't stopped. His buddy was there and they were sharing ice cream, and I love that. And they want us to believe that the two of them are just fine and dandy. I know a lot of people were asking, I'm going to come back with what your comments are. I know a lot of people were saying before this even happened, hold on, I am dying of thirst. Sorry. Oh, I got my tea again. It's so good. By the way, it's celestial seasonings. I think I showed you before. It's really good. Get it. Anyway, I need a drink. They were saying, why wouldn't his mother be there, or why wouldn't Gustav be there? That's plausible. And I think that makes sense. But from like a production end of it, they probably couldn't get those actors to be there. So of course, Elizabeth is there. They could have mentioned that the parents were out of town or whatever. They didn't even get into it. They just, they chose Elizabeth, and Bill went, and that was good. I was fine with it. Before I go any further, I want to see what y'all have to say. What's this? He already tripled his post from season 9. Chris was there tweeting. He even retweeted Christina, one of Christina's posts she's the lead in his fan group. Yes, and they're saying, oh, people saw it. Yeah. Let's see, Marianne, do you think the writers felt they had to focus on Lucas in the first episode? Well, yeah, it was a cliffhanger. So I'm thinking yes. But do you mean more because of the breakup? I don't know. Did Derek write this episode? I didn't even check. I know he was out there tweeting. And Derek is very sensitive to the relationship of Elizabeth and Lucas, and just the storyline in general. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know they should have, because that makes sense, because it was such a cliffhanger, but I don't know if it was like a gift to draw people in. I just think he has a big storyline, and it looks like his storyline is going to involve Rosemary and Bill and Nathan, and them trying to solve it and figure it out. So I think it's something that's going to go on for a while. That's what I'm thinking. Let's see. Tanya is saying it was a good start for Lucas fans. Chris did a good job. I think everybody did a good job. I'll talk more about everyone else later, but I loved, what's funny? And Chris, if you're here, this is funny to me. I remember when I chatted with him, he was talking about a speech he had to give, that big speech, and then he forgot a lot of it, no matter how hard he tried. And I'm thinking the speech he had to give again, he had notes, but the notes would have made sense because he was the governor speaking. But I'm wondering if Chris made notes so he could remember of what he had to say. I don't know. You have T2. Very good. But mine's got a shot in it. Okay. We didn't see Chris is in next week's previews. I think they were trying to pacify us. Well, Joyce, that wouldn't make any sense to me because the storyline is kind of big. So I feel like we'll see him. They don't always show everything. They showed more about, I guess what's happening with Faith. I'm interested in that, but again, that's tomorrow. I'm not worried. I'm excited, actually. And if you read the different synopsises, by 4, there's got to be more that happens, because in 4 we actually get to meet Janette. So I want everybody to tell me who you want Janette to be. I don't know. Put that in the comments. Let's see. You know what? I'm taking that off, Robin. Show me that tomorrow. Yes, in Canada, we did see that Lucas Bouchard got to trend. Yes. Oh, Nikki says she wants it to be Julie. I do too. I do too. Morgan says, I remember in Chris's interview that they would talk more about what else was involved with the breakup besides not wanting to be in. Yes, they are. Yes. So there's more things that are coming. And I thought that the whole episode was slow, but wow, did we get a lot of Chris time in this first episode. Yeah. Let's see. If not Julie, then I would love to see Natalie Hall. Well, I don't think it's Natalie, because Natalie was busy giving birth and having a baby when all that was happening. So I doubt that it would be Natalie. Robin saying, I'm not worried either, as I believe his storyline is big and ever changing going forward and love it. I love it too. And of course, Suzanne's here saying that she's hoping that it is Susan rather. Oops. That she hopes it is. I'm not my normal setup, as you can see. As let's see. Sure, there people. I don't like when people don't follow directions. It drives me insane. We're not talking about Fiona. That is tomorrow. Tomorrow I will do a recap. This is just the Lucas Bouchard after show. Sorry. Sorry, people. I'm going to even pretend I don't see that. I don't see it. Okay, some of the other things. Now, again, I love that he had a little bit of, and I remember Chris kind of hinting that he did get some time with his buddy, but I don't think he's going to get that much more. But it was nice because they established that they still do have this closeness and this friendship, and it was more than one time that LJ talked about his buddy. He talked about it when he was listening to Rosemary and Elizabeth kind of talking code about, the scoop that came out on the newspaper. Yes, and I thought that, and I marked that down. And then what is this? I really do hope that Henry changes his mind. And I saw that Chris kind of tweeted that let's hope Henry changes his mind. I think Henry would really be a good businessman, and a good asset with him. And I loved when his assistant Edward's eyes were like, "What? No." And then when he mentions criminal, and Edward's eyes are like, "Oh, no, no." I think, they're going to make Lucas do his own thing. He's not going to be the typical, I'm worried about, if you have a criminal record or not. He's going to be looking to the heart of the people, because that's how his character is, which I love. Yes, Henry needs to come work for Lucas. I think that too. I guess the big announcement, and people were like, well, why does it become a conflict? And we learned that from Chris, him owning the saloon. I guess his big announcement shows us why, because when he explained how it was going to work, it kind of reminds me of FDR and some of his ideas for, making America great. He was saying how it's going to be the government working with like private sector, and they'll benefit together from like a resort. In the first place will be Hope Valley. So I guess, Lucas won't be able to, because and he privately owns the saloon. He would be making money off of something that he's proposing through government. So that's why it becomes a conflict of interest. And of course, Lee again, there he is, and donating the land. What else did I want to say? Wait a minute, there was something funny. And the conversation when Edward said something like, oh, we should give a medal to the shooter because it made more publicity. And he's like, yeah, that's a silver lining I could do without. I love that line. Whoever wrote that line, thank you. That was great. And Chris's delivery of it was really good. You know what I love? I love his acting ability. Like I say this all the time, but to me, this is the ultimate thing, when the actor makes you forget that they're acting, and he does. These are people agreeing with, oh yeah, I wish Henry will change his mind too. Is Henry a convicted felon? He is. I thought he was exonerated or for something else. No, this is something else. It's not the blowing up of the mine. It's from before. And he went and did jail time. As a matter of fact, he even got to come out from some of his time when the mayor was Abigail, and he had to do sort of like community service stuff. I'm thinking that Henry will wind up in charge of the new hotel. Okay. I think though that Hickam is, and I do think that Lee buys it, I think. Lucas will honor the person, not the record for Henry. Yes. Tanya's saying, and by the way, hello, Michelle. How are you? Tanya's saying, I'm so glad that Lee and Lucas will be working together on the resort project. I like the relationship in the beginning of season 10. So did I. I'm glad that they're continuing. And Henry's there too. And Henry and Lee have a great history. So does Hickam. So it's looking good. And I also like that, like I was saying, if it wasn't Chris in the scene, and Chris his character Lucas being the center of the scene, then the conversations not all of them, but most of them had to do with, the storyline for Lucas. And I like the conversation Bill cracks me up. He was having with Nathan, how, they didn't come right out at first to say it, but more or less, yeah, go investigate, which I thought was a good thing. I love when he said to him, like, he's going to be still in danger, Bill said. And they have Nathan like, yeah, like, do what you got to do, kind of. And that was smart. And again, did Derek write this? Because whoever wrote this episode, I don't care who it is, it was good. It was a very good episode. The flow was a little slow, but that's because there was a lot that they had to cover, and I'm okay with that. I'm looking forward to seeing Janette. Maybe that will make me feel better about Lucas's storyline. Listen, we are heartbroken that the relationship, I look at it sometimes and I'm like, oh my gosh, it was so beautiful. And we know what we saw. I'm not here to debate that. I know what I know. You don't need to try to brainwash me to think I didn't, but I know what I know. And okay, fine. You took a left turn when we all thought we were going right. Okay, whatever. I'm going to move on from that. I am not going to be out there saying, oh, don't use this hashtag, or don't be silent. You hurt everybody when you do that. Because I didn't get my way, I'm going to act like a baby. I'm not going to act like a baby. And if I'm insulting someone, I'm sorry. But sour grapes, I'm sorry. The storyline didn't go my way. I hate that it didn't go my way, but that story's over. Anyway, I'm moving on to whatever they have for us now. And right now, I am excited about this Lucas Bouchard story. And I will be there to support Chris because he's an exceptional actor. And I like the people that work for When Calls the Heart, the directors, the writers that have been there forever. I'm not going to go out there on social media and say don't do something. Yes, I would love to see Henry and Lucas. Yes, FDR, he's setting up a national park system. Yes, something is going on. Yes. Thanks, Roxanne, for this podcast chat tonight. Oh, you're welcome. I'm so excited to see who Janette is. Wah! Christina, we all are. We're like, wah! I don't want to wish my life away, and I don't want to hurry it either. But, we've got a couple more episodes that are leading up to that. And do you think, I don't know. I don't think that the shooter is going to wind up being, or maybe it is going to be who we all think it is, but there's going to be more to that storyline, I feel like. And I think Janette has somehow, some way, something to do with it. Hi, Nikki. Kevin said in the ET interview that Lee buys out the Queen of Hearts. Yes, we know. And yes, the new deal for FDR reminds me so much of it, but I'm a history teacher, so that's why it came here. Thanks, Roxanne. We love this. I'm sure Chris and Julie is watching. Oh, I hope they're watching. I would love it if they were watching, because there's a lot of negative stuff out there, and I know their eyes are on it, and we're not here for that. We are here to support Chris. And we love this character, so we want to see where the character is going. And those of you that don't want to watch, I'm not saying, and shame on you, I'm not saying that at all. Don't watch. Everybody's level of sensitivity or what they can take is different. We all have different things going on in our lives, but I hope you tune into this so you can see, what we're doing. And even though you're not watching, you could still go out there and use the hashtags Chris McNally and Lucas Bouchard on Sundays and help us out to trend. That would be great. I think Henry will come on board. Yeah. And it'll bring so much more to the storyline. Yes. Yes. Who owns the saloon now? I think right now, Lucas still does. But with this plan he's putting forth, you're going to see now why it's a conflict of interest. Because at first I was like, a conflict of interest, but you can have a resort, but he doesn't really have a resort. It's, government partnership. So I get it. Yes, he said he had to sell the saloon. Perhaps when he comes back home, Lucas will buy into the new hotel. He can't buy into the new hotel, Jan, because he's the person who's putting forth the government. It's a conflict of interest with his plan. And he even said that the private sector, he said the word coffers, which I love, reminds me of Bridgerton. It will be filled. So it's almost like insider trading, so he can't do it. Does Lucas sell the saloon to Lee and Bill? I don't know. We're not sure. Jean, we just know that Lee buys it. I don't know if he has a partnership with anyone or what happens, but we do know that because they disclosed that in one of their interviews. Well, actually, in two interviews. We will find out about who bought the saloon later. Okay. Is Janette supposed to be a long-term character? We know Lucas has no romantic storyline this season. Not really. He doesn't really, but I don't know. But there is something about their relationship in the past that comes to light and is like something that he didn't disclose to Elizabeth, or not so much that it's like a big secret. I think it might be that their relationship is not what Elizabeth thought it was. And I think it kind of makes her way they said it, they were saying it makes her question. Well, Chris was saying it makes it be questionable, not that he did something wrong, but more like it their conversation sounds like jealousy. I'm not saying it does, but the way they're talking, and then Nathan hears it, misunderstands what is going on between them, and but that's for tomorrow. Okay. Chris is a fantastic actor and I love watching him. I am in such agreement with you. I'm talking about the hotel to be built. So am I. I'm talking about that too, Jan. He cannot participate in that because it's government funded. It's the government. It would be like insider trading. Yeah. If you go back and watch what he said, you'll see. That made it clear to me in my mind. I wonder if Lucas will ask Henry to manage the resort project. I don't know. I think he wants Henry just to be part of his team, part of his like cabinet. Chris plays Lucas so well. He was born for this part. He was. And I remember when someone had asked him, when he and I were chatting, someone had asked him which character, and he said he thinks is most like him, and he thinks, that Lucas is. If anyone had to own the Queen of Hearts besides Lucas, I'm glad it's Lee. Yes, Maria, that's the resort project I'm talking about. And so am I. It is government funded. So again, we already talked about that. If you go back and you listen, you'll see. Chris is just such an incredible actor and so focused and believable as his Lucas character. He is. Lindsay wrote it. Deb Johnson. Lindsay wrote it. Lindsay wrote this episode. Hey, Lindsay. For some reason, Hallmark watches everything I do, which shocks me. I don't know why. I'm just a girl here in Hamilton, okay, in South Jersey. Good for you. Kudos for you, Lindsay. I like this episode. You did a good job. Thank you. Thank you, Lindsay. Even Lizzie's haircut had Lucas, I know, as a central part of the conversation. I don't know if I wasn't a Lucas fan, maybe a different fan, and I saw how much time was dedicated to Lucas Bouchard, I'd be a little ticked off, but I'm not going to gloat. Okay. Chris seemed happy when he talked with Henry Lee and Rosemary. He seems to have a good rapport with Edwin. He does. He does. He does. He does. But Edwin, I could tell, is like, not so happy with some of the decisions. And of course, listen, of course, these are characters. They're not real people, but they wrote this. They did a good job. She did a good job with this. It's believable. Of course, Edwin wouldn't want someone to have a criminal background. However, Lucas is being Lucas. See, I love that. They're keeping him true to who his character is, because I felt like he was weird, okay, in season 10. But now in season 11, I'm getting to see the real Lucas, and he has a good heart and he doesn't care. Like, yeah, you like we said, you've served your time. I want him to be with Henry. I want them to be a team. Chris is Lucas. No one else could play him. You're right. This episode was awesome. Regardless of what happened last season, we have to move forward. Thank you, Robin. And yes, and he needs us to support him. He does. And when he was on my podcast, he was excited, saying, I'm waiting for season 12. So good for them. The actors did an amazing job, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. Right on, Roxanne. Oh, I love when people agree with me. I have no idea. I said 42,000 things in my blah, 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 South Jersey way. I don't have Kathy here to even me out. We haven't even talked. I'm not even allowed to talk about When Calls the Heart. I'll have to call her in a little bit. Yes, Susan, I absolutely agree with you. No one could play Lucas. Good gravy. No one could, no, you cannot recast him. No. But Lucas is so romantic. I hate he does not have love in this season. But you know what? Hold on, I gotta lean down again, get my drink. Listen, I think he will. And I don't mean it, he doesn't have a love interest, but we're going to see him cope with loving Elizabeth because I'm sure he still does. And if the writing is as good as it was Lindsay, if the writing is as good as it was Lindsay as it was tonight, I know they're going to address it. If not for any other reason, they'll address it because it's going to cause angst for Nathan and Elizabeth. And I don't mean bad angst. And I'm like, oh haha. I mean it's not like, oh, they're just gonna fall over each other. That would be boring. I think it's going they need a little tension and they I think that there's going to be Elizabeth and Lucas addressing some of their issues. She's not going to get away with it scot free, just from what I heard from the interviews. And he'll address it, and we'll see the romantic part of him. We will. I really cannot wait to see him with Janette, though. Lucas doesn't seem to be bothered by his memory loss. I wonder if he has a flashback scene in the episode to come. That's true. It almost looks like he's just eager to be in the present. So maybe what happened to him disturbed him so much. Maybe they'll make it, you know, how people avoid things in their subconscious, but that's just us thinking. We don't know what the writers are going to do. So many possibilities of who Janette can be, and exciting to look forward to that episode. Yes, I will watch and support Chris. Good, Lucy. Thank you. Lindsay Sturman wrote this episode. She did a good job. I'm actually going to send her a message. Yes, support Chris. This is his job, and he needs us to support him. So I always say in every podcast, people can look it up. My podcast can scrutinize over it. Maybe my guests don't, but I always say that we never talk bad about the human. We're not here to say, oh, Jimmy Joe, he's such a terrible actor. He doesn't have any expression, or he overact. We're not doing any of that. None of that. We're not here for that. But I think as a writer, we can critique your work and pick it apart because you're a writer and it's not you, the person, but how you wrote the story. Sometimes you hit it out of the park and sometimes you don't. I'm a writer. I know. Maybe that's why I say it. So I get it. So Lindsay, you disappointed me greatly with your mistakes and hiccups in season 10. And even if I look at it as this is part 2, even if I did it that way, I felt like the Lucas character kind of was weird from the beginning of season 10 to the end. But I have to tell you, in this episode, I think you did a good job and you have it going on. So good for you. I love how pragmatic you are about the show and how supportive you are of Chris. Thank you, Michelle. I love Chris. He is a sweet human. He really is. And I had the pleasure of getting to spend some time with him off screen, just talking. And he's a nice guy. He really is. I'm pretty good judge of character, I think. And he's very much like when you see him in an interview, and he just, I don't know, he is who he is. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't have any like, oh, here's me in an interview. Oh, here's me on the red carpet. Here, I think you always get the same guy all the time. I will always support Chris and any of his projects he's in. Good. So he was in, yes, the wheelchair, but his progress is good and he'll be back to normal later on. Yeah, because then he graduates to a cane. I was in a wheelchair and had to graduate to a cane. I did a walker in between then too, but they're not going to give him a walker. It's too grandpa-ish. So he's going to go right to that cane. But I love how he stood up, and that was cool. I love this podcast and thank you. Okay, thank you. All right, Jan. No, I'm not saying it correctly. When he is no longer governor. Okay, maybe. All right, but for now he can't. Okay, I gotcha. Good evening, Hearties. I missed tonight's episode because my Fire Stick signal was off. Oh, Yvonne, is that how you say your name? Yvonne, that's a beautiful name. We're sorry. We're giving you spoilers, but they're good spoilers. So go watch. When you have time, watch it. Janet. In hindsight, I'm glad they broke them up, as I don't think Elizabeth would ever have been comfortable in his world. Janet, Janet. It's all how the writers write it, and they were comfortable in each other's world. But this Elizabeth that we met in season 10 was not. So I have to agree with you there. Chris does some of his best work in drama, upset sadness. I would rather wait until after this season to see a romance. We saw that side for years. Yes, high five you, Tanya. Now we're going to see this. Yes, thank you. Like we get to see more. I want to see him get angry. We never really get to see him angry. I would love to see him get mad about something. And I don't mean mad at Elizabeth or whatever, but I mean angry because, someone's doing something wrong or attacking him or something. Hearing all this makes me excited to watch the episode I have taped. Thank you. Yay, Sharon. You're going to enjoy it, Sharon. It's good. It really is good. Lucas's speech had music in the beginning, and I've heard it before. Did someone recognize it? Yeah, wait a minute, Arlene. I was so like nervous that I'd miss something, and I was looking at my teacup. I'm all prepared. This is my teacup book. I just write about Lucas in this. You're right. Anybody got it? That would be great. Tell us here. So many stories to tell. Can't wait. Can't wait. And Lucas will be in so many episodes, which is amazing, as he is now helping Hope Valley move forward in some ways. So exciting all around. It is. It is. We don't want this to be the Lucas Bouchard show, because that's not fair, and then that would be boring. You want it to be that, he's interacting. You know how Elizabeth, because she is supposed to be the main character of the story, how her life intertwines with everyone else, and even Bill, because of his position, and even Rosemary and Lee do too. You could see them, and I can see that they're going to keep that for Lucas because of the job he has, and we're going to see him involved with Hickam, going to see him involved with Bill, even with Elizabeth, and whoever, like Lee and Rosemary. So it's really a good thing. Would the QQH be part of the resort project? Yeah, I think so. I think they said something about that. And they kind of already had it started with the spa and everything. So I think yes. I think everyone is thinking Janette is an older woman, but when she shows up, she's young and beautiful. And I think we will find out that they were involved in the past. Nikki, I've never thought that. I'm with you. I always was shocked when people thought that she was older because of the use the word widow. I think that's what it is. And I find that to be interesting. And also, I think, and I could be correct me if I'm wrong. I have no problem with that. A lot of people, because of what fans say, said it was Lucas's best friend. No, that was never said. They didn't really talk about who her husband was. It just was she was a widow, and someone was taking advantage of her. So I think that's fans saying that. I don't think it was ever written anywhere. So we'd have to go back, and there are people like Lillian who is very good and can quote things. So can Kathy, my Kathy. So she could quote stuff. So we'll have to, go look that up, or you could tell me now. I also think that Lucas and Janette were involved in the past. Yes, Lucy. We all want that, don't we? Edwin expects to be Lucas's main assistant. He does, Jan, and he is not underappreciated, but think about it. Lucas is going to want somebody in his cabinet that he can trust. Not that he can't trust Edwin, but he doesn't know Edwin like he knows Henry, and he knows Lee, and they're good men and they're smart men, especially Henry. Henry has a lot of contacts. So we've seen him be redeemed, and he's like, you could keep asking, but I'm going to say no, I don't think so. And correct me if I'm wrong. When Henry came to visit Lucas, he was not in Hope Valley. He had already left because the hospital room was different. He had already left and was back in Union City, correct? Help me out if I'm wrong. I want to know. Edwin is so hilarious, and his facial expressions are too funny, and Lucas is so serious, and he and Henry have always had a great relationship. They do. Lucas is back to season 6, Charm and Smarts. Oh, all right, Susan. I'm okay with that. I agree. I loved his acceptance of Henry, felony or not. I'm actually looking forward to just seeing Lucas without any romantic attachments this season. Teresa, so am I. And Teresa, um, don't be mad at me. I don't recognize your last name, so I don't. Are you usually in on our podcast? Have you always been a Lucas fan? Or are you just popping in? And I'm glad if you're just popping in. I'm just curious. Lucy, I hated last season, but I'm ready to move on with Lucas's new storyline. Good. Me too. Lucas is really growing into his role as the governor. For someone who is on the and on at the hospital, he's doing a lot of governing. You know what? I have a very good friend that had without saying names, had a big position and it was ill. And you'd be surprised. You're like just coming out of a coma basically, and they're in your ear wanting to know stuff. Yeah, they're laugh out loud. Okay, of course they are keeping Lucas to character as for Alfonso as consultant, the creator of Lucas's character. Um, I'm thinking about that in retrospect. Like, what made them do that? Because this was already written. I wonder if they, this was already written and ready and in the can. You know what I mean? By the time we got to see season, it's a little different. We got to see season 10. And I'm wondering if along the way, because we knew by season 4, John Tinker, we had saw his hand and stuff. So I'm wondering if in mid-season or whatever, that's when they decided to have him join for the next. I don't know, but it's a good decision. And thank you. Are you sure there is no vodka in his tea or in my tea? I don't have any vodka in my tea. Why am I talking a lot? All right. At least Lucas has a heart and still hurt by it. Yeah. Okay. I agree with you, Christina. We're going to see more of that. Chris said it was too soon for romance this season. It is. Yep. His relationship with Elizabeth's not over yet, but just in how they will move on and respect each other. And Lucas may start seeing someone else come into the picture, just another relationship. Yes, yes. And again, the romance part is not over. I mean, it is over. Let me say that, but it's not. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I have to keep doing that. This terrible podcasting. The romance part is not over in that they have to have some kind of closure and they really don't. Like Elizabeth's like, I'm so glad everything we could still be friends. Yeah, you're going to have a few more conversations. I know you are because, well, that makes for good writing. And that's going to then make angst, like I said, for what is going on. I know I repeated myself with Nathan. I watched tonight and overall I thought it was good. I do think they overdid Nathan as the hero. Margie, they didn't. They didn't. We're going to talk more about that tomorrow, not tonight. This is all about Chris and Lucas. I'm actually looking forward to seeing Lucas solo this season and watch how his character just develops even more depth. I like your parameters, Roxanne. Thank you. I like you too. I fully support Chris. Yes, 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 yes. All right. I don't want to miss out on somebody's. If you have a really good comment and I missed it because I'm by myself, let me know. Lillian, hi Lillian. I also want to see Lucas get angry. Unlike you, I'd love to see him get angry at Elizabeth. Oh, okay. I want him to have anger. Things make him angry. I want to make him get angry. I want Lucas to get his edge and swagger back. Yes, yes, Nikki. Erin said in her heart-to-heart interview that they couldn't wait to crack into these romances, Lucas and Elizabeth. Hmm. Okay. Chris did say in his interview that they may or may not be a spark with someone, but no romance. You're right. To it all. Oh, my goodness. I was going to do a half hour. I've been blabbing for 40 minutes. You know what? I'm home alone right now. No one's here. We did have dinner. So I've been by myself for a few hours and I need to talk. That's just me. That's me. My love language. I talk your ear off. Okay. So we'll be back next Sunday. We only are here at this time to, thank you, Tanya, to talk about Lucas and Chris. Just that. And I know that there are some people who I really respect as humans, and I was so sad for them to see do radio silence and be quiet. I get that. I get that because they're hurt, but it doesn't hurt to go on and just tweet, hashtag Chris McNally, hashtag Lucas Bouchard. That would be so great. I mean, it would be great. And you don't have to watch if you don't want to. Watch his other stuff because the more we do that and we at Hallmark Channel and they see, the more movies Chris gets to be in. I know Chris says he's he calls himself unemployed, but that's his joke. But it would be great to have him in another movie. And how about the movie that he did with Julie, the three ghosts, two bath, no, three ghosts, no, three bedrooms, three beds, two baths, one ghost. How he that one was like the best yet. 3 point, I don't know what the on the rate with ratings. And people always get, how can we help? Can we help? Here's how you can help. If you don't have a Nielsen box, but if you are on X and you get things to trend, they're tracking it. That can help. All right. Okay, so I got a tea, iced tea, a Bouchard iced tea. Before we go, I got that. I have some Lucas. I have Bouchard candy. I'll show you next week. And before we go, who wants to win a prize? You want to win a prize? Can I see a sequel? Okay, yes. Okay. Oh, thank you, Roxanne, for this podcast. It's uplifting as a fan. Oh, I'm so happy you loved it. Okay, before you go, here's what here's the first person who lets me know what were Lucas's first words. What were Lucas's first words in this episode? What were they? Bouchard chocolates. They are so good, the Bouchard chocolates. I would like to win a prize. Okay, well, come on, Morgan. Hurry up. I mean, come on, Kathy. Thank you, Roxanne, for tonight. I feel so good. Hi, buddy. Oh, is that what it was? It was? Was it hi, buddy? I think when he sits up. Where am I? No, he didn't say, where am I? He said, hi, buddy. These are the first real, because it was a cheat when we saw him say, like, who are you? Or no, why are you here? Or whatever. Remember, that was from last season. Let me see. Hold on. It was, what are you doing here? But that was really from last season. What were his first words that we got to hear him talk or say? Roxanne, who do you think shot Lucas? He said Elizabeth. Little Jack wasn't there yet. Did he? I don't think he said anybody's name. He just, that when he saw them, he just focused in on their eye, with their eyes. I think it was hi, buddy. I'm agreeing with that. All right. Well, I'm going to go with that because if I'm wrong, I will say next time. But who said hi, buddy first? I'd like to win a prize. Thank you, Roxanne, for tonight. Good job. Oh, Kathy, it's you. You put hi, buddy. Okay. All right. I'll be a little more organized next time with my prize giving out. Margie, it counts if you retweet others. Yes. Just make sure that you have the Chris McNally and the Lucas Bouchard and at Hallmark. I got to tell you, every Sunday that I tweet, I retweet and tweet. Be careful. I get locked out of my account and I have to say who I am. So I had to go through 10 different things I had to go through to get back in this time. I'm like, oh, geez. Holy cannoli. Yeah. Who are you? I know, Jan. That would have been so much fun, wouldn't that? But no, he said Elizabeth Little Jack wasn't there. No, I don't think we really got to hear him talk, Deb, until he came. I want to put that back up for everyone to see. Until she was doing like her voiceover. Let's see. He said nothing when he first opened his eyes. Thank you, Lillian. That's what I thought because I was sitting there trying to write it down. Amazing podcast. You think it's amazing, Lucy? I'm in my pajamas. It's late at night with my wrinkled curtain back here, and I'm just yammering away. Thank you, though. All right, tomorrow I will do a recap of When Calls the Heart. This is part 2 because this is part 2 started with season 10 for me. So I only know Elizabeth and Lucas and everybody as they were introduced in, and Nathan, all them in season 10. That's how I'm looking at it. Again, I'm not here to like hurt anybody, but the writing was strange to me. So this is how I'm looking at it and going forward. And if tonight's episode is anything, I'm happy. I am happy. I hope there's more of this. All right. Are you doing every Sunday? Yes. Every Sunday is just about Lucas. But on Monday is the whole shebang. And I got a lot to say about Hickam and May. And I have a lot to say about Faith, who's a character I just love. And that little Goldie walked. Oh my. Okay. Who is Clayton Pike? Yeah, we all wonder. Oh, someone was asking me who was it that shot him. I don't want to say anything. I have an idea, but I got to wait. I got to get my thoughts together. And the show to me, last season wasn't very plausible. So I'm not good at making predictions anymore. So I got to think about it. Okay. But I do have an idea. You really do like the idea of having a Lucas podcast. So do I. And I will show off little things. I got this gorgeous teacup necklace I'll show you next week. And try the blue shard to make the tea. Kathy, I'm going to send some your way. All right. Good night, folks. Have a good one. Let's see if we could go get some rest. Thank you, Robin. Yes. All right. Good night.